It's notably been a while since my last media literacy video, and in those we covered topics like objectivity and storytelling, or the concept of death of the author, or DOTA for short, and we spoke about the execution of ideas. However, there are also topics when it comes to media literacy that aren't just about narrative decisions or topics. We discussed the philosophical when the objectivity video came out, and we also have to discuss the political and the ramifications that it can have on storytelling. And to start, we have representation. Representation in media is a big topic, especially in modern day, whether it be people fighting for more to be represented, or people arguing that it's not needed, or talking about representation for the sake of it. Now, this is going to be a pretty sensitive subject, and just like my ideas versus execution video, I want to make it clear that this video is my subjective opinion on the topic, and I am not claiming to have all the facts, just talking about things from my point of view with the research I have done, and with the life I have experienced. So, what does representation look like? Well, this is going to differ from person to person. Representation, to me, is about representing all kinds of people from all kinds of different cultures. It's about, people around the world being able to find themselves in pieces of media and be grateful to see themselves represented so well. It's for the boys and girls to be able to look up to someone they see on TV or in a book that they can put themselves into. It's cool, something that we should strive to achieve, because it actually has a net benefit. Why might that be, you might ask? Well, to start, media plays a big role in pushing and maintaining socio-cultural pressures. There's also this analogy I like to use about pieces of art, whether it be video games or television or comic books or anime and manga, serving as snapshots to what may have been culturally or socially accepted at certain points in time. Like old-fashioned TV talking about, the roles that women have to face, or, the gender stereotypes that might come with masculinity, or extremely racist portrayals of black people, or this big fucking loser who's a massive transphobe. Even if you don't want to get into big sweeping social claims, you can see it in minor ways, like did you know that cats actually shouldn't be drinking milk? They're actually lactose intolerant. Or that rats, not really big fans of cheese actually, apparently it smells too strong for them. Even something as little as what we perceive to be normal for certain animals was aided by humanity's misconceptions that were then put into pieces of art. We can take a look at something in particular to drive this point home: gender. Now, gender is one of the most prominent ways people identify themselves and their peers, a learned experience that can come from many sources, like media. Now, some people don't really want to accept this, but you don't come out of the womb understanding what men and women want. You don't go, oh shit, I'm a baby, give me that Make America Great Again beer hat. I love the color blue, and golly, I sure do love monster trucks. Gender is a learned behavior, and one of the ways that can be expressed is by watching gender norms on display in art. Men are not born being naturally drawn to the color blue or monster trucks or guns. These are things learned through life experience. Women are not inherently drawn to pink stuff or cooking. These are things that are acquired. And as people push for gender equality in more recent times, and by recent I mean like times where your parents were alive, it's had humanity re-examine the effects of media, and its very own shift that has matched the world's. This is rhetoric from a particular study published last year called Gender in Media Representations, a review of the literature on gender stereotypes, objectification, and sexualization. In this study, they found that television programs would fall in line with gender stereotypes, with girls being portrayed as focusing more on their appearance. Or in video games, they would be underrepresented or frequently stereotyped, needing to be saved or made love interests. There's also one thing that I do want to make especially clear. I don't think that there is an inherent issue with things like casting women in roles of needing to be saved, because if we tunnel vision too hard on avoiding that, we may end up arbitrarily limiting ourselves to the stories we can create. The issue isn't that women sometimes fill roles of being love interests or damsels in distress, it's that more often than not, that is the role they fill. And in the past, if you wanted a female character that did something else, they were few and far between. You see this backwards backlash to things like shonen female characters having a crush on the protagonist. That in itself is not a bad thing. It's everything surrounding that trait. When you look back throughout the history of something like anime, you will find cases where female characters are extremely shallow and uninteresting. And these reinforcements of stereotypes can hurt people, and it's not just women. In a study with nearly 20,000 participants, conforming to what's expected of a man was associated with mental health issues. This feeling of over-self-reliance, the need to have power of women, and the social expectation of being a playboy were viewed massively unfavorably. Now, if art can serve as a function to push harmful stereotypes that are hurting people to this day, what's to say that it can't serve as a function to do the opposite, and push them away, or reintroduce newer and better ideas, and give people chances to shine where they otherwise didn't have any? As time progresses, we see female characters take stronger and stronger roles in these series. You have powerful women who are instrumental to the plot in series like ReZero, or you have women exploring the unpleasantness and discomfort that comes with their gender identity in How to Weave Relationship, and in the same series you have people talking about how society perceives LGBT couples, or series like Lycoris Recoil having African characters that aren't, incredibly racist depictions. Or how about male characters, like in My Hero Academia, where they're able to channel their masculinity in positive ways that allow them to show emotion, like with the alleged crybaby Deku, or Kirishima, the guy who constantly talks about manliness. These character roles can have profound impacts on people. There's a study called Becoming the King of the North that touches on the way people are inspired by fictional characters, and it mentions just how many teachers were inspired by Robin Williams' portrayal of Mr. Keating, and also just how many women were inspired to start health careers by the series Grey's Anatomy. Links to all the studies I talk about will be in the description, by the way. Representation in media can make people feel seen. It can inspire people to go beyond their means. And it can drive people to passion. Character identification can take you off as a form of narrative transportation. Feeling the character's motivations, their ideas, and their experiences as their own. With the facts that we have established so far, we have people connecting deeply with characters like themselves, representation guiding people to their life goals, and a link between the arts and the pushing of social trends. So, it seems like representation is purely a net good, so why are people mad at it? Something forced diversity, something go woke, go broke. Forced diversity is kind of just a nothing term because, what does that even mean? Do you walk into your local Walmart and see people of color and, roll your eyes because the world is forcing diversity? When we look at the increased inclusion of minority groups in art as of late, we really have to think about what that term means. Now, some defend it by saying that you shouldn't just include minority groups for the sake of it, and what grand purpose does one have to be a black person or gay? I think they're just born like that, dude. An especially good example came out just recently, actually. The Minecraft movie trailer came out right before recording this. And because, of course, noted neo-Nazi Nick Fuentes had to point out the absurdity of a black person being in the movie. We suspend our disbelief for crossing through a portal into a fictional Square video game world, but not for the fact that a black person might have also been able to cross through that same portal. Although in Nick's case it's just blatant white supremacy, there's also useful idiots for his cause that are mad about diversity and, this insane statement. It's weird because being straight, white, or cis is never given the expectation of having a narrative purpose, but the thing is, all of these things can. Your racial identity, your sexual identity, and your gender identity can be extremely moving and introspective plotlines in narratives, but they don't have to be. A character can just be gay because they're gay, and that's about it. It's cool if you want to write plotlines about minority experiences, but their very existence in itself does not necessitate a plotline, an expectation that a straight white character will seemingly never have. Why is our suspension of disbelief supposed to be limited to pale Japanese characters with blonde hair and blue eyes, but not far enough so that we don't get mad at the concept of dark-skinned Asians or feminism? I don't believe anyone is asking for a series set in Japan to suddenly experience the world's largest demographic shift, though, if it did, it's also not really an issue. They just generally would like to see aspects of themselves in the media they love, or if a series is going to include it, to do so tastefully and respectfully. They just want to see more people like them doing cool shit, to give people role models that look like them, and to not be used to double down on the harmful stereotypes they already have to deal with. So to summarize this media literacy video, minority groups are just people. It's not always that deep. Just write them as such, as representation helps people all around the world feel more comfortable in their own skin, and has the power to shift the status quo. and I'm sure minority groups are tired of having to defend their very existence. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe for the funny YouTube algorithm. You can also become a YouTube member, which gives you access to behind-the-scenes content, a badge on comments and livestream chats, as well as the use of emotes and videos before their actual release. You can also check the description for socials like Twitter, where I'm objectively correct all the time, and Discord, where we talk about ReZero, My Hero Academia, Jujutsu Kaisen, and stuff like that. That's about it though. Thank you for watching. See ya.